Hey guys, so in today's video we're going to have a talk about breathing. It's no surprise that breathing is critically important to your martial arts, regardless of what style of martial arts you do, but there are different ways to do your breathing, some of which are better than others, and today we're going to explore those in a little more detail. So what are the reasons why breathing is so important? Well, the number one reason is obviously the use of oxygen. Your muscles need oxygen to perform, and if they don't have enough oxygen, you're not going to be able to do your physical activity. So it's really important that you're breathing enough so that you get plenty of oxygen in to feed those muscles. And if you don't, you end up fatigued. The second reason we use breathing in martial arts is to control tension within the body. And this is partially to help us absorb impact. So when we're getting hit, it's really important that we tighten muscles so that we can absorb that impact and protect the organs. And breathing helps us to do that. In regards to tension, there's also mental tension though. Combat can be an extremely stressful situation, and effective breathing can help minimize your stress levels. So it's really important that we have good breathing to help with the mental side as well as the physical. So let's talk about your style of breathing, whether it's deep or shallow, and what that means for the body. As I said before, we really need oxygen to be able to oxygenate the muscles so that they can continue to perform, otherwise you become fatigued. Now, one of the critical things about using oxygen for the muscles is your saturation levels. What that means is how much of that oxygen are you getting into your bloodstream. One of the most important things with getting oxygen into your bloodstream is the deepness of your breath, getting your lungs completely full. Now, the way your lungs work is they're controlled by a muscle called the diaphragm. It runs across here at the bottom of your lungs. And in order to get a really deep breath, it's really important that we're using the diaphragm to control the lungs as opposed to using the muscles in the back and the ribs to open those lungs out. One of the things we do sometimes, particularly when we're stressed, is we breathe with the upper body, the chest and the back. This way. It's a very open type of breathing, but it's also very shallow. One of the problems with that is we can actually hyperventilate. That's where we're not completely processing the oxygen that we're bringing into the lungs, and we end up higher in carbon dioxide. When that happens, you start to feel a bit dizzy and you start to feel a little bit crook. The better way to be breathing is to be breathing with the diaphragm. And so I'm breathing everything down here. And that's really what you need to be doing in order to be using deep oxygen. Now, there's a whole bunch of exercises you can do to increase this, but in a nutshell, what you want to practice is deeper breathing. That is breathing longer and more deliberately. Keeping it really simple for the purpose of this video, that means breathing in through the nose for a long period of time, until your lungs are full, and then breathing out until the diaphragm is completely squeezing the air out. There are many more exercises you can do on this topic, but I'm going to reserve them for the purpose of this video. One of the great reasons to really squeeze the air out is because it causes you then, naturally, to want to breathe in. What that does is help you again to fully expand your lungs, fully oxygenate them, which therefore oxygenates the blood. So while these exercises are great, they're not always practical in combat. It's not always practical to be, like this and going, right, it doesn't work that way. So it's really important that we're able to control the breath with each of our strikes. What I teach my students is to exhale with the movement. It's the breathing out that helps us drive power into our movement. But there are different ways in which to do this. You hear sometimes people make different sounds with their mouth, like a or like this. It's not really important what the sound is, but have you ever wondered why people don't just like this, open? The reason for that is because what that does is when you're breathing open like this, you completely expel the oxygen in your lungs, which is all well and good, but you don't always have time in between throwing strikes and getting hit to be able to breathe back in. Because of course, when we're breathing in and we get hit, that's when you get hurt. So I need to control my use of oxygen and be able to throw a bunch of strikes in so that I can then breathe in when there's a natural gap in that combat. So I'll breathe in, cover, and then use a little bit of oxygen on each movement. So that's why we do the controlling of the breath. For me, I just use the lips. I just let a little bit of oxygen out that allows me to expel air without expelling the whole lot. Some people will valve breathe, which means they use the tongue this way. And there's a whole range of different sounds that people will use to control or limit the exhalation of air so that they can use a little bit without having to breathe in after every movement. Not practical. So the other thing you might be wondering is, well then why force the air out at all? Why not just breathe normally through your movement? Well, here's why. One, because the exhalation of air helps us with energy. We see that the best example of this is the tennis players, right? And they get their racket and they're like that, right? They're expelling air through what they're doing to get maximum energy. Get down and go to push your car. If it's really heavy and you're pushing it uphill, what are you going to do? You're going to go, you're expelling air, which helps you to drive that energy forward. But there's another part to it, and that is through the fast contraction of the muscles. In order to squeeze out that air, we get the tension within the body, and that helps us both to drive quickly and also to absorb impact. And so that's why we want to breathe out quick, but limit the flow of oxygen. The other part I want to get to that is don't limit the oxygen at the point of impact through the end of the target. Breathe through the movement. So not here and stop it. All the way through your motion. Of course, the KU followers will recognize the templates that I'm using in this demonstration as Heishu and quadrant drill. So there's only one more type of breathing that I do want to mention, and that is actually, despite me saying it not to use it earlier, open breathing. Like this. And the time we want to do this is when we want to completely eradicate any tension in the body. The best time to be doing that is when we're break falling or rolling. When you're being thrown, it's really important that you relax. If you're tight, you land hard and you impact, and that's not good for your body. So we want to be relaxed and loose and roll. And so whenever you're being thrown, you're break falling or rolling, the breathing is a little different. Instead of and tightening this up, you're loosening it out. Being relaxed in your movement. So try to take that home. Work both your deep breathing exercises, which help you to control and improve the control that you have with your diaphragm, your lungs, and your upper body muscles. It'll also help reduce stress. It'll help increase the oxygen in your body, which will improve performance and general health. You need to also work on quick breathing with tension to limit oxygen, as well as relaxed breathing in order to do your rolls and break falls. So I hope that helps you to understand our breathing a little bit better, which will aid to your karate as a whole. So thank you for watching the video. I hope you got a lot of value from it. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I look forward to seeing you on the next one.